Hi, I'm Dr. Tamara Hamai. I help nonprofit leaders to create more sustainable impact through every transition. Why do nonprofits struggle so much with measuring their impact? And how would I fix it? Many nonprofit leaders are struggling. That is real. Over the years, as I've worked with various nonprofits in different industries, I have seen several common issues for why they have such a hard time measuring their impact. First, I unfortunately have seen that they don't know what their impact is. They haven't actually thought through what are the changes that they as an organization are creating for people before the mission is achieved. What are the steps along the way? What does the mission, if it's achieved, actually look like if it's achieved? Defining what impact means for your organization is the first step that you need to do in order to be able to track that impact. So if you're aiming as an organization to improve child development, for example, what does child development mean to you? And how do you measure that? Is it school achievement, academic achievement, right? Is it being on grade level in terms of a third grade at sixth grade? Is it completing high school? Is it going to college or getting higher education? Or is it getting a job once you complete school? There's so many different ways of defining what your impact is, and you have to choose one or two. So define what your impact is so that you know what you're even trying to measure. Next, I have seen so many nonprofits just try to do too much. They define their impact in so many ways that they are trying to measure everything, it seems like, right? All aspects of child development, for example. Everything about somebody's life. They're measuring 52 things. You only really need to measure 1, 2, or 3, right? A small number. Keep it simple. Focusing on fewer measures of impact can help you be better at doing those measures and tracking that over time. The lack of consistency of measurement is another issue that I've seen for why nonprofits are struggling with measuring their impact. When you only measure something once, you're not tracking anything over time. You have that one measure or that one point in time. So you need to be able to consistently measure that impact, those outcomes, multiple times over time. You need to show that it's not just that one person or that one group of people that went through your program, but every time you deliver your program, that you're seeing these types of changes for folks. So consistency of the systems that you're using, of the tools that you're using to measure your impact over time. It's really important. You can't be able to demonstrate that your organization really does good work if you don't have regular, updated information about what changes are happening for folks. Another issue that I have seen with nonprofits measuring their impact is that they're not actually measuring the right thing. They're measuring completely different concepts. For example, an outcome when someone is in an education program might be that they gain more knowledge. But then what I'm seeing is that nonprofits often measure the satisfaction with the training or the education program, or they ask, was this topic relevant? What other topics would you like to see? Which are all really important questions for designing programs, but it doesn't tell you anything about whether they've gained any knowledge. It doesn't tell you about whether you've made a difference in the outcomes that you're aiming for. So you're not measuring your impact, you're just measuring how happy they are. Not the same thing. You don't necessarily have to get rid of those satisfaction measures, right? But you want to make sure that you have measures in place that you are using that directly measure the outcomes that you are aiming to achieve. Once you have those direct measures of knowledge gain, attitude change, behavior change, of policy change, whatever it is that you're aiming to change, then you're able to more directly speak to the impact that you're creating. Lastly, so many nonprofits are making it really hard on themselves. They are taking way too much on. Super complicated systems, too many measures, so much burden. Often we're trying to build the most beautiful, comprehensive evaluation machine when we're thinking about measuring our impact, rather than starting really simple. When you are trying to dive into launching Salesforce because, oh, that's a great data system, or Apricot 360, right? Like, we're trying to be really sophisticated from the beginning. You're actually making it a lot harder on yourself. Now, while those data systems are great, they work, they take a lot of setup time, and they take a lot of decision making and a lot of things that you don't need to do right away, right? You actually are holding yourself back from just getting the information you need about your impact. So when you're just starting out, or you're early in developing your data systems, or you just want to start improving those data systems to track your measures of impact more consistently, make it simple. What are you going to consistently use? What do you not have to train that many people on? Maybe it's a Google Sheet, Google Form. Maybe it's a physical piece of paper, right? What is a simple way that you can consistently measure your outcomes for the most number of people over time? How can you track it in a way that you know it will happen every time? Do that. Don't get super fancy. You can do that later. You can just do one measure of an outcome, print it out, right? Like find a printer somewhere and print it out, right? Whatever you need to do that is the most aligned with something that you can consistently start doing right away with the least amount of burden on your staff and your organization. And then just do it. Consistency. To summarize all the little tidbits of suggestions I've had about how I would fix these struggles. First, define your impact. What does it actually mean in its simplest terms? And then once you have the definition of what impact looks like in the short and the long term, identify basically the strongest and simplest measures for those outcomes. How can you consistently gather those measures, whether it's a questionnaire or a conversation with someone? How can you consistently collect that information over time using the simplest system? What is the easy way that you can do something that you know you can maintain and not have to worry about doing every single time you deliver the program? Define your impact, establish a super simple system, and consistently measure the same thing over time. Don't change, don't abandon things, just keep doing it. So if you liked this video, hit like, give it a little thumbs up, and subscribe to this channel for more information that's relevant to nonprofit leaders who are aiming to sustain their organization and impact over time. Rock on!